Good morning from Saas Fee. I'm in the middle of a snowstorm. It's the 23rd of December, and yesterday and today uh, it's uh, it's a very rough weather. As you can see behind me, you cannot even see the big mountains surrounding us. But hopefully, starting tomorrow, things will improve, and we're gonna be able to enjoy the skiing holiday under the sunshine, which is obviously the most pleasant way to ski. And but right now we're heading from our hotel here up the hill towards the city center, the resort center, more precisely said, to have our morning tea and morning coffee. Erika joins me here. As you can see, she's also almost like a penguin, freezing here. Everybody here behind me, as you can see, is trying to get rid of the snow. All these machines working around the clock. Saas Fee is actually a place where no cars are allowed. So every car that you might see on the street has to be this electric sort of a golf cart that serves the taxi purpose. But aside from that, there are no cars here. And no surprise, because also in these conditions it's almost impossible to drive. So now we're gonna head towards the center, and then we're gonna come back shortly. So here is my horse Erika. She's a woman horse, and she's walking me through Erika. She's walking me through Saas Fee. Erika, what are you doing? So my horse Erika, it's a Russian breed of horse coming from Siberia. Good morning, folks. It's 7 a.m. and after 2 days of intense snowstorm, finally we see the clear skies here in the Saas Valley. We see the glorious moon rising here, and to our right the tall peaks of the Mischabel group, with the Dom Peak, the second highest in Switzerland, at 4,584 meters. A very tall peak, always covered in snow and glaciers. And here on the other side, the sunnier part of the Saas Valley, with the Horsea mountain peak. And as we're moving towards Saas Fee city center, resort center, we're walking by these traditional Malaysian huts made in wood with stone roofing. It's something very specific of this region, and many of them, you might see them, they look old and ancient, but inside they are actually fully upgraded to the latest comfort, including heating in the floor and things like that. So there's a prerequisite for buying such a traditional Malaysian chalet, that you would commit to its full renovation while maintaining the appearance. So you cannot just buy it and tear it down. And here we have another view of Mischabel in all its glory. Today we're gonna go and ski on the other side, the Saas Grund side, which is a bit more friendly for beginners, with wider slopes and also more affordable prices. So maybe 20% discount on the cable cars for the daily ride. And I'm gonna give you the details as we go there and show rather than tell. So looking forward to continuing this ride. And here finally the sun has risen over the jagged peaks of the Mischabel group. Of course, all the way up it's impossible to reach. It's, especially now in winter, it's a very extreme hike, so skiing really starts from 1,000 meters below these top peaks. There is a possibility to reach, maybe you guys have heard this boom. This was a detonation of dynamite preparing the slopes against avalanches. So as you can hear, these booms represent targeted dynamiting, blasting of regions of accumulated snow. Because of these very big snowfalls, there is a very big danger of avalanches. And of course, wow, So here we are in Saas Grund, the sunny side of Saas Fee. I'm here on the chairlift. I'm being pulled up. It's 11 o'clock and already the sun started shining on this side. It's a bit windy today and not the whole mountain is ready because of the heavy snowfalls. There has to be this dynamiting of the snow and grooming, and it's quite a complicated process given how big the area is. But we got our 3-day ski ticket for an average price of $55 a day, 55 francs, so that's a very good price. And now I'm just heading up on the beginner slope. It's actually the side of this valley with the most beginner friendly slopes and where you can get the best experience, you know, the widest slope, most groom if you're a beginner. So we're just getting warmed up here, and I'm gonna go back shortly to you and show you also how it is when you're actually skiing. So here we are already on our third run. This is the ski lift that takes us to the base of the Horsea. The Horsea glacier is this big mountain in front of us. It's a 4,000 meter tall mountain, and it's actually facing south, so that's why we're seeing now before noon. It's being already sunbathed, but regardless, there is a big glacier there. Right now it's covered in snow, so you cannot really see it. So here there's snow all year around, and of course a bit the conditions there higher are not so welcoming. There's a lot of wind, especially. I mean, if you look here to the right, you can see the wind blasting. And for this reason there is no service today at that altitude of 3,200 meters, so we're gonna like stick here on the beginner slope, which is actually very pleasant because for a first day of skiing it's always good to start with a bit of a calmer rhythm. I see already it's getting crowded. The ski schools of Saas Grund are actually operating mostly here on the ski slope, so you could see this groups of young kids going around and learning their first steps on the skis. Hey folks, so I'm here on the slope, middle slope of Saas Grund. I'm at the tall valley at 2,000 meters called Kreuzboden, and I'm going to show you now like an alternate route, which is a bit right to the main piste, but which I really enjoy riding because it gives more this nature vibe as opposed to riding on the slope where, you know, like there's always skiers and it's always like a bit more racing mode. And for me, I generally enjoy taking this more peaceful approach when going skiing, even though earlier in my life I was much more competitive. Always when I'm going on fast groomed slopes like this one, I have the tendency to push it harder, but I want now today sort of to exercise, let's say, my aesthetic gene rather than my competitive gene, and show you also around this very beautiful scenery. Here as we're turning right, we're seeing the Michapelle Hütte with the dome, which is the second tallest peak in the Alps at 4,585 meters. So here another skier passed me by. Here's the gondola that is coming all the way from Saas Grund, and it's crossing actually a very beautiful valley where you can always sight mountain goats and wild animals, sometimes even this big horned deer called the ibex. So it's just a very, very beautiful scenery, and to my liking it's better than the other side of the mountain, which I'm just showing now, which is obviously more raw, more rough. We can see the Saas Fee glacier there. There's more risk for avalanches on the other side. Even here on this side, the higher part was closed today also because of risk of wind and avalanches. We can see there up. Obviously not as welcoming as here lower in the valley. And now slowly I'm gonna merge towards the main slope and continue all the way down where my wife is waiting for me. So here guys, I'm again in the cable car, and I wanted to show you an interesting thing. So here, this mountain to the left was the subject of a very interesting debate where there was a big plan for covering it in solar panels. As you can see, like, it actually is facing straight the sun. The sun almost always shines on this side of the mountain, also because of this high altitude. And this plan of covering it with solar panels and transforming it into a solar farm became a very controversial topic. And of course, this community here, Saas had an interest on one side of installing this because it would create jobs and obviously create a boost to the local economy, but there would be obviously also a cost in the environmental impact. We all know that these green energies are actually very destructive to the environment. The green is just a marketing name. And in the end, this whole project was put to vote because communities have actually the possibility of voting on such local development projects, and it was rejected by the local community. So I'm very glad that we can still see this mountain here in its raw form, rather than being turned into a huge construction site and then just covered in this ugly black solar panels. Of course, there's also the opposing view, which is, you know, high-tech jobs being created. It's, you can imagine, a very innovative and difficult engineering project to do something like that here, but fortunately it won't come to fruition. And here it's already afternoon, and most of the people are now enjoying their lunch. We're already there skiing. My wife is just right in front of me, so we're gonna like also try to enjoy as much as we can of this beautiful weather. And here we have the beautiful panorama of the Mishabel Mountains, and here it's the beginner slope. Such a pleasant place, especially if you're new to skiing. I definitely recommend starting with this side because, as you can see, it's the incline is very small, and it's very broad, and also the snow is always very well groomed. You see here right in front of me, it's my wife like skiing, and she's a beginner. She learned maybe 3 years ago here on this right slope, and there's also ski instructors that you can get for a good price. Probably the best thing is to take a group ski lesson, and then you can maybe pay 80 bucks for 3 hours of a group lesson, which will get you up to speed with this and learn the technique, the basics. So for instance, here she's skiing, and she's doing quite well, having a good posture. So here we are now. A bit of snow became more fluffy, is no longer so groomed, so I have to pay attention now as I'm skiing down. But also, like, the atmosphere changed. Now there's this bit of a misty atmosphere, and Christmas carols singing here at the base station is just an amazing atmosphere. And what I really like about Zasbund, and what I recommend it for everybody who wants to come here on a ski holiday, is that it's generally not a tourist destination. The tourists that come here are really into winter sports, so they're good experienced skiers. There's a lot of politeness on the slopes, and generally not a big touristic crowd. So it's mostly people that love winter sport and are very good at it. So definitely a very, very cool spot. You know, it's by far my favorite one in Switzerland. I have here a more difficult part of the slope, so I'm not gonna like film while I'm skiing, just to pay attention, especially because the snow became a bit more choppy now. So see you downstairs, and I'm gonna like report also back from when we go back to Saasgrund. Good morning and Merry Christmas. It's very early in the morning here in Saas Fee on Christmas Day, and I went for a morning walk. Right behind me are the peaks of the mountain still, not shining in the morning sun. That's how you tell the first rays of sun here, shining on the Mishabel Mountains. So I'm going to go now shortly for a walk in this very, very calm Christmas festive atmosphere and try to capture a few of these very idyllic places of Saas Fee. Right behind me, for instance, this very beautiful chalet, and another very special type of little chapel here. This whole Saas Valley is sprinkled with such chapels. There may be 10 or even more of them placed in on various uh, spots of the valley, some even higher up. And today probably maybe we would also be able to go inside because generally on Christmas there's this very nice setup with the reenactment of the birth of Lord Jesus Christ. So let's see if we can get inside. So it seems that the chapel is closed until today. Probably it's a bit early in the day. There's a sign there, and here we see uh, this information where they're saying Kirchen und Kapellen des Saastales. That means the churches and chapels of the Saas Valley, and a beautiful view of the mountains here. This typical valleys chalet, and very nice thing to do, especially now with this huge amount of snow, is to go in a hot tub in outside, right in the snow. Many of these hotels offer such hot tubs. Here there's also one such setup, especially after one day of skiing. It's a very nice thing to do. And we are here in the higher part of Saas Fee, and I'm gonna head towards now the resort center, and I'll also show you along the way some of these typical hotels. A hotel room here in peak season probably will cost you around 150 bucks. That's what I paid for my hotel, and I'm very pleased with it. Of course, you can find hotel rooms for $2,000 a night, but there's really no point in going excessive because the conditions, for instance, this is the hotel where I'm hosted, the conditions are excellent, also for a normal hotel. And here we have a perspective of the Vicem H Massive, which is on the right side of the Saas Valley. And if I can go here through this bike parking, we will probably have a very nice panorama of this whole Saas Valley. So this is the Saas Valley in all its morning glory. The name actually comes from the name of a river which flows in this valley. If you can look there down, you're gonna see a street, and also parallel to the street is a river that is actually exploited also for hydroelectric purposes. Upstream there is a reservoir and a plant. It's inaccessible at this moment, but it's a very beautiful reservoir to visit, with a very crystalline and turquoise colored water. I visited it once in the summer, so definitely worth a visit, but in these snowy conditions it's a very difficult hike uphill. So as you were seeing me walking down the streets of Saas Fee, you might be surprised by the amount of snow that you can also see here in the resorts. I mean, here I think there's 1 meter of snow right next to me. The streets have been cleaned. It's a bit unusual to have that much snow at this time of the year. It's not the first time that I'm seeing so much snow here down in the resort. So we are here at 1,600 meters if I'm not mistaken. But normally the peak season is around I would say January, end of January. Here during the last maybe 10 years the winter season has shifted more towards the months of January till April, rather than the traditional December to February months. So it's a bit like shifted 1 month. Of course, you know, like the winter holidays stayed fixed, the New Year and the Christmas, and I always love to have this white Christmas. So I'm super happy to have had this chance this year of heavy snowfalls, and now you really get this like white Christmas atmosphere, which became very uncommon in Switzerland, sometimes even in the mountains. uh, of course, you know, the mountains are very high, so you can still always find snow, but normally starting at 2000 meters altitude, so the resorts sometimes are lacking themselves. So I wanted to catch the first glimpses of the sun right behind this very beautiful hotels in the traditional Swiss style. Always the first rays of sun there on the peaks of the dome can be first seen in the first hours of the day. So I'm gonna try to come closer and show you better. So here we have one of the most beautiful houses here in the whole resort, with these very beautiful red blinds and the wooden facade. It's called the Chalet Fee. That means the chalet with the blink of the Fee glaciers, and right behind it, the Mishabel and the dome in the enjoying the first rays of the morning sun. Always the sun starts shining on the peaks and then gradually starts encompassing the entire massif. It's always almost like a nature wonder to be able to witness this. So as I'm walking here to the early hours of the morning, and I keep hearing the sound of detonations and blasting for the avalanche protection in the mountains, I'm reminded that yesterday, for instance, a tragic event happened with one of the best Swiss snowboarders, girl, 25 years old, part of the Olympic Swiss team, just died in an avalanche right yesterday morning. So one of the best snowboarders, she probably was doing an off-piste skiing and was caught by an avalanche. So the danger here of such nature catastrophes is significant, and you always have to pay your respect to the mountain and not ever underestimate yourself. There's a lot of temptations to go off piste here, but it's always better to advise yourself um, with the mountain personnel from the cable car or from the tourist office, because the danger really exists. I mean, every year maybe like 10-15 people die in winter avalanches. So definitely something to keep in mind when going skiing. Respect the slopes and respect the indications and the warning signs. Things can really become fatal if you don't do so. I also wanted to show you this type of building, this Gletschergarten. For instance, this is a holiday apartment house. It was recently built last year, and there is also the possibility of owning a holiday apartment here, and prices here might vary from maybe 700,000 francs to 1.5 million, depending on the surface. There are apartments, of course, even more expensive than that if you want to have your own chalet, fully owned. But definitely there is also an appeal to having such a condominium here. To my taste, development is of such holiday properties is a bit excessive here, and especially because they don't really get usage throughout the year. So I am now a bit more inclined to favor hotel, because it also brings you the variation, but there's also this phenomenon that is happening in the Swiss Alps. And here we have also the beautiful Catholic church of Saas Fee. It is also made of this local stone, but it is having this very modernistic design, probably built around the 70s, 80s era. Uh, Catholics also sometimes abandon this more traditional shape for their churches and do this more modernistic architecture. I went yesterday on Christmas Eve, and it's very, very beautiful inside. Out of respect, I'm not gonna go inside to film, but it's here occupying the main square next to the schoolhouse. And this is the schoolhouse, and there's also a basketball court inside. Also here, a symbol of, I believe, Pfarrer, that means of a priest that has have the historical significance to this region. I don't know exactly which one. To my shame, I should inform myself. And the backdrop of the Mishabel Mountains. So as I'm walking this morning through the frozen streets here of Saas Fee, I'm reminded of course, the famous Last Christmas song, which was actually recorded. The clip for it was recorded 40 years ago, right in this place in Saas Fee. So the George Michael and his band Wham came here and filmed this video, this iconic video, and also the song that like we always hear on every Christmas Eve. And I'm getting close now here, and I'm gonna show you. There is also a sort of a memorial spot to celebrate some of the places that this band went to when filming this video. So here, right behind me, there's this totem pole here with Wham! Last Christmas. So this right here, another very interesting piece of Saas Fee history. So here, right at the entrance in Saas Fee, a piece of more ethnographic history. It's sort of like a village museum that I'm walking through, with the typical Valasian houses of maybe 500 years ago, all resting on sort of a foundation of stone, and then some pillars made of stone, trying to keep them insulated from the cold winters. Of course, you can imagine there was no heating, or probably not even a stove inside such houses, because they were all made of wood. So here we still have like a collection of them. I'm not sure if they are still in their original place, or what we're seeing here is actually sort of a reenactment, but it's definitely a very special place, highlighting a bit of the history of the region. There is also a peasants museum here with traditional Valais Zaser household, where you can go inside and see all the rooms. Of course, these are like smaller ones, but there were also bigger dwellings. So definitely also that museum thing worth visiting. Also for me, I'm gonna flip shortly the camera. This just seems like a fascinated way of people living a few hundred years ago. So let me flip the camera and show you up close. So here we can see the houses and how they're raised on these pillars, and with these entrances here, their roofs made out of river stone. And you see how the snow is almost like a glazing, rows and rows of snow on that, depending on how the wind blows, can be up to 1 meter high on these roofs. A very, very interesting. Let me pay attention here because it's a bit untouched snow. So I'm walking very carefully through this village of traditional houses. And here we have the the peaks of the mountains. So I just prepare myself for ski, and as I'm walking now towards the bus stop where I'm gonna head down to Saas, I wanted to tell a few things about also the people in this region, from which I have met a few, and also having lived here for, I mean, at least as a secondary resident for more than 3 years. I learned. So this is a community that is not so dependent on tourism. It is actually this valley of Saas is comprised of 4 communities: Saas Fee, Saas Almagel, Saas Gun, and Saas Ballen, and they are pretty self-sufficient. So there is here a local economy, mostly centered around construction material like wood, stone. So not only primary materials but also finished products. So for instance, furniture you can buy made from the region, or like these very expensive kitchens that might adorn a very luxurious apartment in a city, might be made out of wood coming from this region, or even fully made from wood from this region. So as a contractor, floorings, things like that. So obviously the community is thus not solely reliant on tourism. It is all these 4 communities are thriving communities. There is also energy developments here. I mentioned these plants for solar panels, but also like a set of power plants on and micro hydroelectric plants on these rivers here. So that's also like a source of income, and thus the people are generally very how to say, entrepreneurial and effective. They're very conservative. I really like this part. These are all 4 very well-run communities. The youth, young people, also of course get into like this winter sports. Some of them of course want to move to the bigger cities. The biggest city at the start of the valley is Visp, which is actually the seat of Lonza, the international multinational pharma conglomerate, which employs here a few thousand people, like high-tech workers. So that's also like a very attractive destination for people, like pursuing higher education and wanting to remain in this region. It's a quite rich region, I would say, and very conservative. Something that I very, very much enjoy. Hey guys, so I just stopped by here in this Alpine Valley. I took the cable car from the middle station all the way up to Horsea, 3,200 meters. That's about 13,000 feet. And on my way down I stopped in this peaceful pasture, so to say, now all covered in snow, and just wanted to give you a glimpse of the high alpine skiing mode. It's very cold here. Much of these slopes are actually on permafrost or glacier foundation. And I see here like a very, very interesting also geology. There is really no more trees at this altitude, just rock and ice. It's very, very impressive. So this side road to the slope takes us towards the Vicem H, which is a Alpine cabin at high altitude, maybe 2,800 meters, and it's part of a network of cabins maintained by the Swiss Alpine Club in very iconic regions. So I'm also now skiing towards it. As you guys can see, I'm taking a bit of a detour from the main slope, and like it's a very scenic and meaningful in terms of mountain exploration cabin, because it's at the base of the Vicem peak right behind, and the Vicem glacier region that was Obviously one of the first destinations for alpine tourism at high altitude. So now obviously all these mountains are a bit more welcoming because of all these developments that have been done, but historically, even now, like climbing the Vicem H glacier is a very challenging undertaking. So I'm going to take now a break here, maybe have a tea. So just wanted to give you this glimpse of this high alpine Vicem H cabin. Here's a bit of the atmosphere from inside this wonderful cabin. It's very cozy, but right now, because there's such a pleasant weather outside, most of the people just stay on the terrace. But here it is, a very typical Swiss mountain chalet. Let's go! So here's my wife skiing. I'm actually very proud of her, how well she learned how to ski, because she suffered a stroke which left her half paralyzed for quite a long period of time, and also with a disability on her right arm. And she learned how to ski after her stroke. She had no idea how to ski before, so she learned it here, maybe in 1 week of classes, and now she's super comfortable, going almost with the same speed as I can go on the skis. So yeah, that's her. So here I am chasing my wife. I know it's not good to chase women, but at least she bears my name. So here it is. I'm very proud of how she's skiing, especially after such a serious medical condition and no prior knowledge, to be able to go so easily. Now also the snow is quite difficult, full of moguls, as you can see. It's a very, very nice activity, and she learned to do it in just a few weeks of staying here in Saas Fee. So of course, another amazing part of skiing is the après skiing. That means enjoying a drink after a long day of skiing and enjoying the sun. I think the sun will be with us another maybe 5-10 more minutes, but now it was so warm and hot that I even wanted to just be in the shirt, enjoying here a bit of music. There's unfortunately 2 kids that are robbing my son in front, but otherwise I would really get this amazing tan if I would just take my glasses off. So this is how it looks.